I grew up with the internet. In 2009, I swam through a vast sea of creators like an Olympic swimmer at the bright-eyed age of 6. People documenting their lives, creating stories through unique forms of media, or just simple 15-second jokes. YouTube has informed my perception of the world from a very young age. To my siblings, these sudden shifts seemed odd. I never existed in just one fixation at a time. My mind was hungry and the internet satiated. My mannerisms parodied them all. An over-the-top scream to convey excitement or a shattering wail when things won't go my way. Even my comedy mirrored those I saw. I never knew a language of comedy of my own, only what I consumed. I found what worked and what didn't. I knew the proper joke to say and when it ran out of style. I taught myself to recognize when a joke looped back around from being extremely unfunny to a somewhat ironic humorous. This trait got me far. I became somewhat of a sponge for the behaviors people portrayed around me. I could engage in conversations and topics I had the most limited knowledge on. I had consumed so much that I knew nothing but to consume. In my late teens, I had consumed so much and felt incomplete, since my life hadn't mirrored what I was perceiving through a screen. Even though these circumstances I watched were fictitious, this feeling I was abnormal for not experiencing them persisted. My content net had widened by this point from beyond just YouTube. TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, hell, even dipping into the Criterion collection to boast my higher intellect around my peers. Yet I still echoed the language of that media, not only through my oral language, but also my physical language. I dressed in a way to show that I existed in a different world than others, enjoyed feasts with friends to evoke a sense of community. Even the somewhat cliché, extremely ambiguous post for a following of only 50,000 people, I did it all, no matter how manufactured. But I still felt like there was something missing. I lacked a sense of normalcy through it all. In an attempt to be something more, somewhere, someway, somehow, I lost what truly made me enough. I needed to reconnect with normal society, understand how I can exist as a pure yet complex form, understand if this amalgamation of contemporary shifts and fundamental biology that made up my whole being at this point could somehow be accepted into normal society. So I turned to the most normal place for any lost 18-year-old to turn, a fraternity. My first rush experience was a bust. I had sat in a corner talking to my friend and not any of the brothers. I couldn't drink a single beer. Turns out frat boys want you to drink alcohol and talk to them. With this new knowledge, I tried again in the spring semester. I had previously befriended one of the brothers and was invited to rush during one of their recruitment panels. I, not going to their school but craving normalcy, decided to rush. I wore the right outfits to impress them, said the right post-ironic joke to get them laughing, drank enough beer to convince them I'd been doing it for years. My track record was flawless. Through my conversations with the brothers, I learned they were just as nuanced, if not more so than I. Some enjoyed the same media I did, some grew up in ways similar to me, some were just outright abnormal. But they accepted each other, they were a family. They called me in for an interview, and that's when I came clean. I had no reason to keep going with my experiment. These brothers taught me that no matter how outlandish my dress, how quirky my mannerisms, how interesting my food, people are just looking for where they belong and the feeling of normalcy. Everyone is consuming the way others behave so they can fit in and relate to one another. These brothers dressed similarly, but as I got to know them, I could see the tiniest detail that made them who they were in just their outfit. The way they'd interact with me, the softness some of them treated me with, the bluntness another would. The brothers wanted to make me feel welcomed so openly. They made me feel like a brother. I have never felt so accepted in my entire life. This acceptance taught me that I am not what I consume, but my many nuances, my interests, the way I hold myself, the way I am able to connect. That is who I am. In this experiment, I proved to myself my thesis. I'm so swagged out and esoteric anyone can and probably will like me. Even frat boys. One of them may have liked me a little too much. But that's a story for my actual memoir. Signed, Cod.